Welcome back to Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. With this video, we're going to look at the vowel system in Biblical Hebrew. Up until now, we've just been looking at consonants, but in order to read Hebrew, you also need to know the vowels. Ancient Hebrew was originally written without any vowels, so in English, it would look something like this. In the Middle Ages, scribes came back and added vowels to the consonantal text in order to preserve the correct reading, so there wouldn't be any ambiguity about what the text was supposed to say. So what they did was they added vowels underneath the corresponding consonants. So here you see they've added an O under the D, an O under the T, and so on. So now it clearly says Dr. Williamson rocks my world, in case you had previously any doubt. So, in Hebrew, vowels are usually written below the consonant, after which they are to be read. So in this word, you see the vowels have been written under the line of the consonantal writing. Now the way that you vocalize Hebrew then is you start on the right of the word, which is where Hebrew always begins. You read the first consonant and then the vowel under it. So that first syllable is ye. Then you see a sin. The vowel under the sin is a silent schwa, which you will learn later in this lesson. So there is no pronunciation there. So yis. The next syllable is a resh followed by a long ah vowel. So yis, ra. Then an aleph followed by a long e vowel, pronounced a in Hebrew, and then a lamed to end the word. So reading right to left and top to bottom, you say Yisrael, Yisrael. Hebrew vowels are divided into three classes: the A class, the E class, and the U class. In each class, there are both short and long vowels. The long vowels, when we write them in English, are marked with a line above. So, for instance, A with a line over marks a long A. So in the A class, we have a short A. We have a long A. In the E class, we have a short E, which is pronounced E. We have a long E, which is pronounced A. And we have short and long I, which is pronounced I or E. The U class, we have a short O, which is pronounced Ah. We have a short and long U, both pronounced U. And then we have a long O, pronounced O. We'll start by looking at the E class. We'll start by looking at the short E, which is called a segol. The segol is 3 dots in a triangular formation underneath the letter. So where you see the dotted red square, that's the consonant, and then underneath is the segol. The sound of the segol is a short E, like met, eh, eh. So if we put our segol in where it belongs, and move on to the next vowel. The tsere is 2 dots underneath the consonant. This is the long E sound, and it's pronounced like the E in they, so it's A. So put the tsere in. There it is. So we have E segol and A tsere. Then finally we have the hirek. The hirek is a single dot underneath the consonant. The hirek can be either a short I, as in bit, or a long E, as in unique. We'll talk more about how you know when it's long and short, but for the most part, it doesn't really affect too much. So I or E. If we put our hirek into place, you can see that the E class is all marked by various formations of dots. So I remember the E's are the dotty ones. This gets you pretty far, but as we'll see in a little bit when you get into the U class, that gets slightly more complicated. So segol, tsere, hirek, E class. In the A class, there are 2 vowels, a short A and a long A. So the short A is the patach. It's written by a single horizontal line underneath the letter. This is the short A as in car. Put our patach into place, and now we'll look at the long A. The long A vowel is called a kamatz. Sometimes you will hear it kametz. The kamatz looks like a little cross underneath the letter, like this. The long ah sound is ah as in car. In pronunciation, we don't really distinguish between the long ah and the short ah too much in contemporary pronunciation, but it does affect some things in terms of how you vocalize the word. So keeping straight which one is short and which one is long is important. So here are our ah class vowels, the patach and the kamatz. The ah class vowels are the liney ones. The e class vowels are the dotty ones. That's how I remember that. Now, when we move over to the u class vowels, we are going to see that these vowels don't really follow our liney, dotty pattern. They kind of mess it up a little bit. But the most common of the u class vowels is the cholim, which is the vowel that appears actually above the line and slightly to the left of the letter. So it's a distinctive vowel mark and one that you will see quite often, the cholim. This is the long O sound. It's pronounced like the O in roll. So we fill in our cholim there at the bottom of the U-class vowels. The next U-class vowel is the shurek. The shurek is both the short and the long U, pronounced as the U in flute. Like the hirek, the shurek can be either long or short. In terms of pronunciation, it doesn't affect anything, but in terms of syllable division, which we'll get to next week, it does affect syllable division. So just remember, shurek can be either long or short, as pronounced like the U in flute. This one is made up of dots, and so it can be confused with the E-class vowels, but it's kind of a distinctive little pattern dropping down there to the right. So if we put our shurek into our chart, we've just got one vowel left, which is the short O there at the top of the U class. Unfortunately, the short O looks exactly like the long A kamatz. So this letter is called a kamatz hatuf, and it is exactly like the kamatz. It is a little T-looking thing down below the consonant. It's pronounced like the O in loft, so kind of an ah sound. We will learn how to distinguish the kamatz from the kamatz hatuf as we go. A quick rule is when you see this symbol, it is almost always a kamatz long ah. Every once in a while, it is a kamatz hatuf short O. So if you have to guess, you would guess long ah. But we'll learn some rules for distinguishing them as we go. So if we put our kamatz hatuf into our chart is now complete. So here we have the three classes of vowels, a, e, and u. The a class are the liney ones, the e class are the dotty ones, and then the u class are kind of the quirky ones. Now in addition to our small vowels that are written below the line, we also have what are called matres lecciones, or mothers or helpers of reading. The way that the matres lecciones developed is before the full vowel system was developed, the early scribes developed ways of marking certain vowels with consonants so that even in a consonantal text you could still clarify what the vowel sounds were supposed to be. So what you'll notice when you read a Hebrew text is that some of the vowels will be marked with these consonants and other vowels will be marked with that little system that we saw before. Never to fear, though. The system makes sense, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So, there are a series of matres lecciones that are formed with a hey. The first one looks like this. You see it's a kamatz followed by a hey. The name of this vowel is the kamatz hey, and it sounds just like a kamatz. So it is a long ah sound. We mark it with this little circumflex to make it a hyper long ah, but in terms of the way it functions out in the world, it functions just like a long vowel. So kamatz hey, pronounced ah. Here you see the next one. It's a tsere followed by a hey. This is called a tsere hey, and it's pronounced like a tsere, a. Then we have a holim hey, which is a holim plus a hey, called a holim hey, and pronounced like a holim, o. So really, while this looks a little stressful, it actually is not complicated. All you're really doing is adding a hey after these three vowels, and mark them as hyperlong vowels. The next class is marked with a vav. This vowel marker has a holem and a vav. It is called a holem vav, and it is pronounced like a holem, so an O. This one is slightly different. Here you have a vav with what looks like a dagesh in it. This is the marker of what is called a shurek, and it's pronounced like a long U. Shurek. Finally, we have our maters that are formed with a yod. This one is a tsere plus a yod. It's called a tsere yod, pronounced like a tsere. Here we have a hirek yod, called a hirek yod, pronounced like a hirek, long, E, always long, E. So in sum, these are our matres lecciones. You have kamate, tsere he, holem he. You have holem vav and shurek. You have tsere yod and hirek yod. You'll see these a lot, so get comfortable with them. There's one more thing that you need to know about the vowel system in Hebrew, and that is the Schwa. This is what a simple Schwa looks like. The circle of dots there is just where the consonants would be. I've changed my marker. This is the Schwa here in red. This is what we call a simple Schwa. This is what you will see most often. Sometimes a simple Schwa is silent. It just marks the end of a syllable. Sometimes the simple Schwa is muttered, like We'll talk for the next lesson about how you distinguish a silent from a muttered simple Schwa. For now, just know that this marker that looks like a colon is a simple Schwa, and sometimes it's silent, sometimes it sounds like Now, there are three other forms of the Schwa, which are called composite Schwas. This sounds a little stressful, but it's not. This is the first one. You'll see that what it is a simple Schwa plus a patach next to each other. This one is called the patach Schwa, and it sounds like a patach. Then we have this one, which is just a simple Schwa plus a segol. It's called a segol Schwa, and it's pronounced like a segol, eh. Finally, we have simple Schwa plus a kamatz chatuf. So this is called the kamatz Schwa, and it's pronounced O. This one is always an O class Schwa. It is not, there's not a A class kamatz Schwa. So when you see the kamatz in the composite Schwa, it's always kamatz chatuf, which is pronounced A. This is the Schwa system. You'll see this with some frequency. Most often you'll see the simple Schwa. Now that you have learned the vowel system in ancient Hebrew, it's possible to start reading Hebrew. So we'll begin with this sentence. While this might look a little stressful to you, and probably it should, and within a couple of weeks this will seem pretty straightforward to you. The first thing I want you to notice about this sentence is that there are three matres lecciones here. The first one is this vav, followed by a cholim. So cholim vav, pronounced O. Second one is this hirek, followed by a yod. It's a hirek yod, pronounced E. And the third one is this tsere, followed by a yod. That's a tsere yod, pronounced A. The rest of the vowels in this sentence are our usual vowels marked underneath the corresponding consonant. So let's try pronouncing this word by word. So this word is a yod followed by cholim vav, then a tsare followed by a tsere, and then an aleph. So we pronounce this word yotze, yotze, yotze. This word is simply an aleph followed by a sigol and a tav, pronounced et, et. This word is an ayin followed by a patach, then a mem followed by hirek yod, ami, ami. This word is a vet followed by a simple schwa. This schwa is muttered. Then a nun followed by tsere yod. So altogether, v'nei, v'nei. This word you have seen before. This is a yod followed by a hirek, a sin followed by a silent schwa, a resh followed by a kamatz, an ayin followed by a tsere, and then a lamed. So this is pronounced Yisrael, Yisrael, Yisrael. Finally, we come to this rather long word. This word is a mem followed by a hirek, and then another mem followed by another hirek, a tzare followed by a silent schwa, a resh followed by a kamatz, a yod followed by a hirek, and then a final mem. So mi mitzrayim, mi mitzrayim, mi mitzrayim. Now, if we try to read this all together, it sounds like this. Yotze et ami v'nei Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. Let's try that again. Yotze et ami v'nei Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. A little faster. Yotze et ami v'nei Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. Yotze et ami v'nei Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. This means, he will lead my people, the sons of Israel, out from Egypt. So congratulations, you just read your first Hebrew sentence and translated it, or at least you followed along while I did it. One of these days, not too long from now, you will be translating that sentence without me. So congratulations, keep studying the vowel system. See you next time.